Coffee and Headlines is brought to you by the generous support of our viewers and the following community partners: Best Cord Cutting TV, Bravos Restaurant Bar, El Rey Lounge de Versalles, Joint Boutique Hotel and Cowork, Puerto Vallarta Neurofeedback, Puerto Vallarta Owners Reps, Oculto, and Siam Cocina Thai. Thank you for your support, and thank you for supporting our community partners. Hey, welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our morning get-together live here on Facebook. I got stuck. What do we do here? We are here to share news from our city, state, and country, news that we can put to good use, news that affect us or affect our quality of life as a community of English-speaking locals living here in Puerto Vallarta. And we also throw in a few bits of news every now and then that are not related to the Puerto Vallarta experience, but are still feel-good news. And of course, we have your wonderful comments and ideas and suggestions. And it's all good. It's all great information to have. I'm very happy. And today, we have interesting news that affect us. We have answers to a viewer who wrote to me very concerned about the increase in cartel activity in Puerto Vallarta. We are going to talk about cartel activity in Puerto Vallarta, whether it is increasing or not, and whether it has any bearing in our day-to-day quality of life or not. So this is what we're here for today. As always, please add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment if you wish to if you wish to have a reaction to your comment. And of course, if you're watching live for the first time, it helps a great deal to read a capital letter N at the beginning of your comment. N as in new gives us the opportunity to give you a nice friendly welcome to Coffee and Headlines. We start with the news. This is important. The new city tax to be applied to foreign tourists visiting Puerto Vallarta that we've been discussing in the past few days has been approved by our city council. This means that the initiative will now be sent to the state congress for discussion and approval. There is no indication as to how long that process is expected to take, and details about the logistics of this tax are still being defined. But what we do know is that if you're a foreign visitor coming to Puerto Vallarta by plane, by car, or by sea, you will be expected to pay, I think it was 20 something US dollars, and that permit lasts for a year. And this is, I should not have said permit because it's really not a permit, it's a tax. So how is the city going to keep track of when you arrived and when you are due to pay this tax again is a huge mystery to me. But what we do know is that this tax, if approved, will be used to benefit our city's infrastructure projects. How it will work, I will keep you posted. In other news, the new Coco Cabaret in Emiliano Zapata is opening soon. And this lovely article from Banderas News tells us a little bit more about what we can expect in this new performance venue that has capacity for around 120 people. Their website is up, so you can see which performers are going to be performing there. You can find all the details in this article from Banderas News. And this is a little controversial and sad, maybe, then makes me think it's going to be a good idea when Presidenta Sheinbaum actually visits Jalisco and meets with our new governor, because once the presidency of the Republic delivered the economic package for next year to the Congress of the Union, it was confirmed that no resources were designated for the flagship projects of the next administration, which is the one that's going to be led by Pablo Lemus. The governor elect published a message on his social networks in which he points out that no resources were allocated for the sanitation of the Santiago River or the mobility projects for the metropolitan area of Guadalajara, and that a minimum fund was set aside for El Zapotillo Dam system and an insufficient fund for the recovery of the state highways. So, bad news. Bad news. If all of this is not included in the federal budget for our state, we don't know exactly what is. And of course, if this is the case, among other things, the completion of the Federación Bridge, which has been sitting in limbo for many years, will most likely not be accomplished this coming year. So what does that mean? That means we're going to be very much looking forward to whenever Presidenta Sheinbaum is able to visit Jalisco and spend some quality time with our governor so that she can clarify the reason why these projects were left behind in the federal budget proposal for next year. We'll keep our eyes open for that one. But at the same time, one of the things I love about our president or our presidenta is her commitment to the environment. And not only her commitment, that she actually understands the challenges. Time magazine has given Sheinbaum an awesome nod, including her in a list of the top 100 world leaders who actually understand climate change and its effect on the environment. She shares the nod with people like Bill Gates, Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, and others. So I understand a little bit about the environment, but I think I understand enough to be happy and proud to have Presidenta Sheinbaum as the leader of our country. Now let's take a quick look at the weather just to see what's going on. We had been reading about some possible rains over the weekend. Let's see what since the beginning of time, mankind has yearned to destroy the sun. Stupid mankind. Well, I don't know about destroying the sun. The sun is rather powerful, so I'm not going to touch that. It is 28 degrees right now. Humidity is at 68%. Our weather forecast for today says that we will have clear skies in the morning with mostly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a chance of rain of only 25%, a high of 31, and a low of 23. Then tomorrow, which was supposed to be the rainy day, is probably going to be a rainy day, mostly cloudy skies in the morning, with rain in the afternoon, a chance of rain of 74%, a high of 28, and a low of 23. And we will start our work week on Monday with a few rain showers, a chance of rain of 56%, a high of 28, and a low of 23. And that's what we have for our first block. We are going to begin our second block with a question that I received by email from a viewer whose name is Keith. Keith writes, I am going to be in Puerto Vallarta in April of 2025, starting to see reports that cartel activity has increased and Puerto Vallarta is not as safe as it used to be. What are your thoughts? Is this a concern or not not really a problem? This is what Keith had to say. I'm going to be happy to answer that one. First of all, thank you for reaching out. I don't know where you are getting these reports. I look at many sources of news every morning to bring content to Coffee and Headlines, and I have not read anything specifically about cartel activity increases in Puerto Vallarta. But let's assume that there was an increase in cartel activity in Puerto Vallarta. And let's compare it to an increase in vehicles in our city. Do I wake up every morning worried that there are more cars? No, not really. Do I wake up every morning fearful that I might suffer a tragic car accident or that I may be run over by a vehicle? No, not really. I mean, I cross the streets carefully. So you see, this whole cartel business, it's first of all, it is happening. It is happening in Puerto Vallarta, and I think it's happening in many, many cities around the world. But we're going to focus on Puerto Vallarta. If we're talking about a city where drugs are consumed, of course, there's going to be supply and demand. So there is cartel activity. Um, Whether it's increasing or decreasing, I don't know because I'm not a drug consumer. So I don't hang out in places where the odds that I might be caught in the middle of cartel confrontation are minimal because of what I do. If you don't know how to swim and you get a job on a boat, that's probably not a good idea. If you're fearful of cartel activity and you go to places where drugs are exchanged or purchased or sold, well, chances are that the odds are going to increase that you may be in a fearful situation. But the reality of it, Keith, is that the odds that something would happen to a mere mortal like you and I are not any larger or smaller than crossing the street or slipping on the sidewalk. Um, it's not a concern that we live with on a day-to-day basis. At least I don't. Now, if you are the kind of person that lives your life in fear, well, first of all, I think we all have fear in our lives. I have fear in my life. I've reached a certain age in which I don't go out on wild hikes because my sense of balance is not what it used to be. And if I fall and I trip, there goes my hip, there goes my shoulder, expensive hospital bills, blah, blah, blah. So I do avoid certain situations. So I do live my life in fear to a certain extent, but not to an extent in which it would make me question if the city that I choose to live in is a good city, or make me question if a city that I go on vacation to is a good city. So the bottom line for me, and I would love to read your comments, is if you are not a person that consumes drugs or finds yourself frequently in places where drugs are exchanged, like nightclubs and on the beach and stuff like that, you're going to be fine. Now, if you live your life fearful that there's cartel activity in Puerto Vallarta, I would love to read about it. No shame, no shade, because I would like to understand better, to better understand why this cartel thing seems to be so much in the minds of some people. So I hope I've answered Keith's question as eloquently as I can, and I hope it's a satisfactory question. Now, I do have a feel-good story that I want to share with you. Check out this puppy. Oh my goodness. I don't know this dog's name, but I have the story behind him, and I think it's going to make you smile. Here we go. The Ultra Trail Mont Blanc running marathon took place this past weekend. We had talked about it. It was a 100-kilometer trail from Mascota to Puerto Vallarta. 100 kilometers. That's a lot of miles. I don't know the equivalent right now. Many people obviously documented the ride. And from the start of the race, several folks out there noticed this dog running along with dozens of competitors. And it turns out that this little dog, ended up running the multi-day marathon all the way to Puerto Vallarta. And he was being searched around the finish line, searched for, because, people started asking, what happened to the dog and should he have a forever home and whatnot. And I did read elsewhere that the dog was actually found just hanging out and that a forever home was found for this very particular athletic dog. And I thought you would enjoy that story on a Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, a week from today is when our new friends from the Butterfly Sanctuary are having their first annual Pollinators Festival and Celebration, Monarch Butterfly or Monarch Butterfly Celebration. All I know is that the 23rd, a week from today, will be a perfect day to visit the new butterfly sanctuary in Puerto Vallarta to check out what they're about and what not. I know that I'm going to try to go, and I strongly recommend you do as well. And what else do we have? Oh, yes. I want to give you an update on the membership, the International Friendship Club membership giveaway. Um, um, I want to give you an update on the status of it. So I got in touch with my friend Beth Tessler. Beth Tessler oversees memberships for the IFC, the International Friendship Club. So first of all, she's going to make sure that all the monies have been received for the 30 memberships that were donated. Then I'm also going to put her in touch with one kind viewer here at Coffee and Headlines that offered to donate a handful of additional memberships so that all the monies can be exchanged. Once this has been done, once I know the actual number of tickets that we have, or not tickets, memberships that we have to give away, then we will schedule an online giveaway so that you can have a benefit of you can enjoy the benefits of a membership to the Friendship Club. And we mentioned a few days ago that it includes discounts in a bunch of local businesses. So it is a great deal. And if you want to get a membership for yourself, I forget the amount. I think it was less than 600 pesos. It was not a lot of money. I'm sure it would pay for itself in a short amount of time. Last but not least, the spotlight. My love-hate little baby. I love it because I always feel good doing it. And I don't love it so much because it's taking a while to get to a place in which it is worth it financially for me. But it's getting in that direction. I want to announce a quick change for the spotlight, which affects mostly those interested in being interviewed. I've changed the registration form. The registration form now features a pull-down menu that allows you to pick the week in which you would like to attend. And that obviously means that it allows me to get a sense into the future as to who is interested in when. So once you register, you pick your week. I take a look. If I already have 2 guests for that week, then unfortunately we cannot make it happen, but I will contact you immediately to find out the next best possible week. And additionally, for the rest of the cluster, now in the show notes, I can write who is joining from which organization on any given week in the future so that you can hopefully look forward to those interviews. And we're constantly looking for ways to make the spotlight more worthwhile and to increase its distribution. So there you have it. Okay. Let's take a look at comments for today. I see a bunch of hellos. Dan went to Costco before craziness and plan on making the one thing I can cook by myself, sloppy joes. Oh, sloppy joes are awesome. I should make some sloppy. I made some. Oh, I can make sloppy joes. I have the ingredients. Yay. Thanks for the suggestion. Let's see what else we have. Puririm pum pum, purum pum pum. Many, 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 many good mornings. I love Presidenta Claudia Pamela. I love her too because she's a woman, because she understands the environment, and because she's a huge change, and because she can't be worse than the previous president. And I'm not saying that Lopez Obrador was bad. One hopes that president after president or governor after governor, they improve the country or the whatever it is that they are overseeing. Let's see. Mexico should be very proud of their new president. I think we are. I honestly do. Alan says, ¿Qué onda, Paco? And I say, ¿Qué pedo, Alan? How are you doing? And most importantly, where are you now? I'm glad to see that your cast is off. Better kicking in the future, I hope. Then I see some replies to the cartel thing. Albert says, I'm not concerned at all about cartel in Puerto Vallarta. I've seen them. I've lived near them. But their world is not my world, so I agree with you, Paco. The odds are you're going to be totally fine. Well, the odds are you're going to be run over by a bus before you have problems with a cartel. I think the odds of slipping on the street and hurting your hip are much bigger than running into problems with a cartel. Now, pickpockets, that is something that I would definitely be more concerned of than the cartel, but that is not only in Puerto Vallarta, that is in any large city. Great comments, Albert. Thank you very much for that. Oh, wasn't the dog story awesome? I would love to meet that dog. Sue writes, it is interesting that Keith is worried about the cartel in Puerto Vallarta. This is one of the only cities in Mexico that my son-in-law is allowed to go to because the U.S. government has deemed it safe. Here's the thing, Sue. Without knowing where you, and I mean all of you, are getting your information from, it is difficult to appreciate its truthfulness, veracity. Am I making up words here? All I can tell you is living here, I appreciate that some people out there may have some preconceived notions that are not accurate. So we're here not to shame anyone. We're here to provide as much clarity and comfort as we can. The cartel problem is real, but it is real in the world of the cartel. If you're not part of it, then you have nothing to worry about, or as much to worry about as being run over by the bus on the street. Let's see. Oh, I suppose this got Dan riled up. The USA always warns about Jalisco. What they don't say is that it is over near Guadalajara, not near Puerto Vallarta. I tell people I don't worry about cartel violence there any more than I worry about drug violence in Detroit. Since we live in Minnesota, about the same distance between our home and Detroit thus there is between Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. There you go. Good answer. Thank you for that. And then Elizabeth asks, how will this tax be collected? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. But more importantly, at least to me, is how will it be used in a way that is transparent and that satisfies the needs of not only the government, but also the private sector. I did read, and I don't want to get into details because I don't know the specifics just yet, that the governance of this tax money will be handled by a trust that includes private sector companies or leaders and the government. So that way we'll make sure that neither is pocketing money where they shouldn't. But again, this is a brand new initiative. It was just pre-approved by our city. It needs to be approved by the Jalisco Congress before we can go any further with it. And with that, I think we're done. Yay! Excellent. Another week. Tomorrow, if all goes well, I'll go hiking up in the mountains on a flat road, the kind that I'm not likely to fall or trip. But again, you never know. All I can tell you is be grateful. Oh my goodness, be grateful. Be grateful for, I forgot about this. Where am I? Be grateful for life. Be grateful for every single day. And if you need a reminder of gratefulness, well, there is, where did it go? I cannot access my button. I'm making this an awkward segue. There you go. If you want to be have a reminder of how to be grateful, I have gratitude music to share with you this coming Thursday at the Joint Boutique Hotel. I've collected a great bunch of music that will make you feel grateful. And this is a good time of year to want to feel grateful, or so I think. Now, we are wrapping this up. Thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for being a part of today's broadcast. And I will see you again on Monday morning. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.